We are your home for Hawaii's music. We are Kapa at 100.3, 99.1, and online at kapradio.com. As promised, another edition of the Kapa Cafe. Joining us this morning, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Aina Paikai. How are you, brother?
Aloha. Good. Maikai. How's it going?
Man, we're very excited to, well, first of all, Kaya and I were blessed to see the premiere of Hawaiian Soul in Kealakekua. And we wanted to talk story with you to find out how more we can see it. It was an amazing film. I think the only disappointment was it wasn't 3 hours long.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a short film, but a narrative. I think people get confused that it's a documentary because it's based on George Helm's life, but this is like actors and a script and all of that. And yeah, we were blessed to show it with you folks in Kealakekua, and that was almost a month ago, I would say. And we've been on Hawaii Island this entire time. I stay Kohala right now, and we're showing in Kauai High this evening. And just like one or two more on Hawaii Island before we do some more rounds on the other islands, looking at Maui next, and then hopefully all of Maui County, all the way up the chain for the rest of the year, however long it takes. And then we come back to, and it sounds like we already locked some dates for Kahilu Theater and Hilo Palace later on in the fall. And so we'll be back.
Yeah, we got to talk to you at the show, at the premiere. And we're talking about what it was like getting to work with the Ohana, because we understood that there had been many offers in the past to make a documentary about George Helm. And why was it that this one they agreed to it and agreed to be part of?
Yeah, so I had a relationship with the Helms, specifically Kekama Helm, through Hokulea. We both were able to sail during the Malamahonua worldwide voyage, and was able to make the Pilina, the relationship at that point, and then kind of the curiosity continued. And so we invited me to talk to his dad and then the rest of his uncles and aunties to just see if they would be willing. And the reason really I think that they agreed was because for us, the foundation of the story was his music. We wanted to center around what he spent most of his life working towards, which was, his love for Hawaiian music and wanting to share the passion of that and our people through music with anyone who would listen. But then he translated that into how he approached activism. And so we kind of touch on both things, but mostly rooted in his music to hopefully get more people to be inspired to listen to his music and his message of Aloha Aina, and just hopefully grow more Aloha Aina minded folks around the world.
They could actually be two separate documentaries of his Aloha Aina work and then his music. The two are enough to be two different stories almost. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, so so there is a documentary that exists about him, and then like I said, ours is actually a narrative. Has actors and stuff, and then but there's so much I think to be told about him, and we really just scratched the surface. It's hard to really tell a whole man's life in 20 minutes, but we try to include his childhood to his adult life, his music and his activism. Just glimpses and moments into that to hopefully again inspire more people to do their homework, as George would often say, and find more about him and whatever Aloha Aina means to them personally.
Has it ever the idea ever come up of using, like, how like Cobra Kai, for example, has done a series on YouTube? I mean, because there's so much that you could touch on. Would you be able to do something like that where you could release like a series and just keep it going like for years?
I think so. I mean, I've talked about it with friends and even other professionals, and that I feel like actually a series would be a good way to approach the George story, or even just that time period of kind of everything, the Renaissance that was happening. There's a lot, Hokulea, Olelo, Hawaii, and so all of that kind of like coming and sprouting through the Hawaiian pride that I feel like George kind of rekindled for us. And so I think there is opportunity. Those things, as you start to get to the more longer, more in-depth production quality and stuff, it gets kind of expensive. But I think we've positioned ourselves to hopefully, at least with the Helms, be kind of the guys to help guide whatever the best storytelling might be in that regard. And if the stars align and that becomes true one day, that we can tell that story more in depth, then hopefully we're a part of it and we want to do that for the family.
I also think too that will open up for the younger generation who may not know too much about his music. I've become more of a fan of his music as these things happen. I mean, like, I've been finding gems like this
Nice.
around,
Yeah.
and actually appreciating him as a musician. Especially my favorite part of the movie, aside from the whole story, was where he's in Waikiki performing, and like he's doing like what Hawaiians do, giving the mo'olelo of the song, and how everybody's just like not even paying attention, and it's to this day it's still going on.
Yeah, I think a lot of musicians do resonate with that part because I've always noticed it, even at our own local luau's, like, they're just kind of background music, which I feel like is real unfortunate because Hawaiian music does have that richness and story, but it sometimes gets pushed aside, mostly because I feel like of the tourism industry that it's just there to be background. And so I think in that moment of the story, it's like where he realizes that that's not where his music belongs, and then in the other situations is where for the people, for our Hawaiian people, especially the kupuna, that will resonate with the type of music that he was playing and that he wanted to honor. But he always did. I feel like in his albums, he would always like kind of give that little spiel of educating folks on the storyteller and the background, but then also be able to deliver that emotion the way he sang these songs. And so something so powerful about him and magnetic, I think, when you watch him and hear him sing. And so he's one of those people, man, where he could just like really bring you in. And that's what he
Kamalani o
did.
Keokaha makes me cry.
Yeah.
Like literally, like I have to like
Yeah.
kind of step away if I put it on the radio.
Yeah. And yeah, like you said, I feel like it's kind of slow style and maybe a little bit older than more contemporary, especially the youth kind of listen to. But there is a lot of heart and the Hawaiian soul that I think he is famous for, that he was able to bring out in his music. That hopefully they find some sort of charm in there, and yeah, have that, like you said, that emotion where you cry, or it takes you to that place. He's able to do that.
Yeah. What can you share with us the what locations are left that people can check it out on the island?
Yeah, Kalamai. So we're only a little bit longer here in Hawaii Island, but then tonight Kauai High, and then tomorrow Mahukona, but that one's more of a private family one, and then one last one in Keaukaha um, on July 2nd.
And then after that, will it be available anywhere after that?
Still doing the community screening stuff, and so it's going to be kind of more pockets. We are getting accepted into some film festivals. A lot of them are online due to COVID, and so there's opportunities to watch it online still yet. You just kind of have to follow our website or our social media at hawaiiansoulmovie.com. And but yeah, I was continuing to do mainly focus on our Hawaiian people because this story is made first and foremost for them. And so wanting to do these community screenings where we'll be able to interact and engage with these particular communities, and they can share their stories of how they aloha aina. And yeah, so trying to bring the film to you, especially if you're in Hawaii, outwards. It'll have its moments here and there for the next few years, and then be online, I think, available probably either next year or the year after.
Okay, real quick now, you're another reason why you're on Hawaii Island this week is Merry Monarch Action.
That's correct.
We're very excited to see what this new thing, what you guys do with it. We're so used to seeing it with the TV station, and to be with the young Hamas, man, we're kind of excited to see what happens with it.
It's very like absolutely the most unique year, I would say, that in the history of Merry Monarch, or at least the broadcast history. And so because of Atilu's regulations, it was just the production people that were inside the stadium with the hula dancers, and even those two factions, the hula dancers and the production guys, were kept separate so that we weren't intermixing. But then yeah, the look of it is all kind of new because we shot daytime, and I thought that was like kind of strange because it's so iconic, the nighttime feel. And yeah, so like they scored everything, the judges were there, but then nobody knows except Auntie Luana guys until they announce it this coming week when they broadcast it. And so nobody knows. We're all excited to see kind of the results, but also I think everyone around town, we missed that Hilo buzz, I feel like, around town.
Right.
But the
shopping, man.
The shopping, yeah. But I think everyone's appreciative that we never canceled 2 years in a row, that there is some hula. Right. And Halal did great, and I think for us, the younger production guys, it was kind of some of our first leaps into the kuleana that we had. And so hopefully everyone's happy with it, and I can't wait till we do it live again next year.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for talking story, brother. We're going to spread the word on the remainder of the locations to check it out. And then looking forward to more stuff from you, brother. And looking forward to Merry Monarch. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, apologize.
Mahalo.